Okay, so something weird happened a couple months ago. Right at the time Maddie and I were working on his script for the Near Apocalypse of '09 Vanishing Point, and right as we were getting ready to publish the finale to our Batman Gotham Under Siege board game video, this popped up on Twitter. What the hell was I looking at? I was just sitting in Maddie's apartment eating animal crackers and watching, I think, Jason Goes to Hell. I wasn't ready for this. Was this an unproduced episode of Justice League Unlimited? A set of pages from a never-released tie-in comic? Something entirely different? Regardless, like any good DC Animated Universe fanboy, I was just really excited to see any new entry into the JLU world. As it turns out, for Batman Day, Darkwing Duck comic writer Aaron Sparrow decided to show off a Justice League Unlimited comic he had pitched to DC in 2018. According to his initial tweet of the first page, the pitch was intended to be a continuation of JLU. The pitch included a full spec script and 5 finished pages. He went on to explain, basically we wanted to give JLU a new season, or 10, in comic book form. Immediately, fans began pouring in to praise this intriguing new JLU story. So what's going on in this? Because it's my job to tell you. Well, the first page begins with Bruce and Diana out on a date at a Gotham City diner. They even provided the frickin' time of day. Do they know how much we love that? They must. They must know that. Bruce is notably hesitant to call this a date, with Diana messing around with him and playing on his obvious discomfort. She says she's trying to get the hang of standard social cues, which Sparrow elaborated on in a direct message discussion with us. We wanted to explore the developing relationship of Bruce and Diana, as well as Diana's evolution as an Amazon becoming more acclimated in man's world. Wonder Woman definitely grew as a character over the course of the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited series in terms of her overall comfort and comprehension of the world beyond Themyscira, going from a naive about cosmetics figure of royalty to, well...
I try to take a day off, try to have a semblance of a normal life, but you had to pick today to rob a bank.
So seeing this explored further is really refreshing. Even just the idea of Bruce and Diana together is really enough to solidify this story as having a DCAU tone, so to speak. Their date ends abruptly by page 2 when Bruce gets a notification on his watch of something important he has to attend to, which Diana, of course, forces herself to be a part of as well. Has Batman had a watch like this before? Or is this one of those smartphones when there shouldn't be smartphones kind of thing? I shouldn't think too hard about this. This transitions into a scene depicting a Suicide Squad mission, or Task Force X, I guess. Don't say suicide in the kids show. Wait, this video is not for children. If you are a child, do not watch this video. Not for you. This is for the big boys, big kids only. You have to at least wear pull-ups like me. Let's try that again. This transitions into a scene depicting a Task Force X mission, one prominently featuring previously unseen characters Nightshade and Bronze Tiger. Though we haven't seen Nightshade in an official DCAU property, she did show up in one of Bruce Timm's unused Justice League team lineups in concept art that was scrapped during pre-production on what would eventually become the Justice League series we know and love. She has a different character design here though, definitely more reminiscent of her look from the animated movie Superman Batman Public Enemies, which was based on her comic book look from the late 2000s. Bronze Tiger has, however, appeared in the DCAU before, in Batman Adventures Volume 2 by Ty Templeton and Dan Slott. He appeared in issues number 5 through 7 as part of Black Mask's False Face Society, a criminal organization that also included Phantasm, Sportsmaster, Black Spider, Firefly, Gorilla Boss, and Deadshot, another character who appears in this JLU comic pitch. Only this time it seems they've decided to go for a half and half with Deadshot's mask. Originally, he wore it all the time until his YouTube face reveal in the JLU episode Task Force X, after which he appeared maskless in the Batman and Harley Quinn sequel comic, albeit retaining the eyepiece. Now it seems he just pulls it back like it's unnecessary altogether. Yes, I am obsessing over this weird little detail. Have you not figured out by now what kind of channel this is? It's certainly not one for babies, I can tell you that. Bronze Tiger here is also in a pretty different look than we've seen him before, but I can imagine reusing this Tony the Tiger looking design would be pretty... Okay, what I'm saying is I get it. This look again more closely resembles his typical comic book appearance, which was also adapted into the Arrow CW series. Additional members of the squad we see here include Rick Flag in his yellow shirt we saw him wearing in that movie sequel comic I mentioned a second ago, Captain Boomerang looking exactly like we saw him in JLU's Flash and Substance, the Clock King in seemingly the same outfit in which we saw him in the Task Force X episode, and Harley freaking Quinn! Now this is a brand new look for Harley. It's kind of close to how she looked as a waitress in Super Babes in Batman and Harley Quinn, but it's got a few nods to other New 52 era costumes and design elements for the character, like the split red and black hair and jacket. According to Sparrow, he sent the artist inspiration drawn from various incarnations. We wanted something that was clearly Harley, but also made sense from a more tactical standpoint. Task Force X are in the middle of a mission and appear to be after a specific item that goes unnamed in these previews pages, but Harley does remark about puns when Colonel Flagg says, "Leave no stone unturned." Sparrow teased fans by asking if anyone would be able to determine what the squad is after, and elaborated that the location is from an episode of the animated series. Could this be the mansion of Harv Hickman, and Task Force X is after the Philosopher's Stone? Although that was destroyed in A Night of Shadows, and even if it was repaired somehow, I doubt the League would just let Hickman have it back. Sparrow also says that the title of this story is a hint to the location, that title being Disorganized Time. And you know what? No, these are the exact steps up to David and Enid Clinton's front door. That's right. Kronos. The kitchen interior even matches. But the Clintons lived here in the time period of Batman Beyond. Is this whole story taking place in the future? Is this the Clinton home 50 years before then? Whenever then is? What the hell is going on here? Either way, the comic preview ends with a splash page of Batman and Wonder Woman leaping out of the invisible jet just as its shields deflect an incoming rocket from Deadshot. So why was it such a weird coincidence that this was showcased at the same time as we were working on these videos? Well, for starters, the artist for this pitch is none other than Lionel Castellani, who did the artwork for the Batman Gotham Under Siege board game. And the parallels with Vanishing Point? Well, I had to know more about this pitch. Contacting Aaron Sparrow directly, I asked if there was any way that we, as a YouTube channel devoted to this universe, you're welcome, could get more information. And what did he reply? The overarching story would have been the tale of how Ra's al Ghul almost destroyed the Justice League, as mentioned in an episode of Batman Beyond. Yep. This pitch was going to be a comic book depiction of the near apocalypse of '09. We did a whole video on this, so I won't bore you with the details, partially because, well, there sort of aren't any. But this event was teased in the Batman Beyond episode Out of the Past, in which, spoiler free here, Ra's al Ghul's daughter Talia visits the Batcave and Terry McGinnis remarks,
"You helped the original Batman fight Raz one last time in the near apocalypse of '09.
And it was brought up again in the JLU episode Epilogue.
My dad wasn't a superhero. He didn't save the world from the near apocalypse of '09.
And that's all we'll be saying about that episode, thank you very much. Out of the Past was written by Paul Dini, co-creator of Batman Beyond and Batman the Animated Series, writer of a billion episodes in comics, creator of Harley Quinn. You guys should know who he is. And according to Sparrow, he and Castellani ran their script by Dini, who gave it his blessing. Since the pitch wasn't accepted by DC Comics and was stuck in limbo for so long, Sparrow decided to share it online and get a sense of the fan reaction. And oh my god, it's been nothing but extremely positive. Best case scenario, Sparrow said, fans kick up enough support that DC decides to give us a shot. Worst case, everyone got a glimpse of a what-if project. Now, look, fans have been clamoring for an explanation of the near apocalypse of '09 for like 20 years. But as we covered in our Vanishing Point episode on the subject, it's debatable whether or not the '09 incident is something that, well, needs to be seen. Think about it in a Star Wars sense. Now calm down, I'm not gonna pretend to be any sort of Star Wars expert, but when Obi-Wan Kenobi mentioned the mysterious Clone Wars all the way back in the very first movie in 1977, were you really happy with the reveal we got 25 years later? I mean, okay, the animated series is pretty good, but I'm talking about this. The near apocalypse of '09 has been so embedded in the DCAU fan community's unanswered questions psyche that tons of fan projects that have come out over the past couple decades have been aimed at driving toward this Ra's al Ghul heavy event. For example, the Batman Immortal fan movie, which sadly lost steam a few years ago, was a tale of an aging Bruce Wayne that would have culminated in a battle with Ra's al Ghul. Though their website has been down for some time, their Facebook page's description for the unproduced film reads, "A global genocide begins to take place as Batman is designing a new, more powerful batsuit. Discovering that the immortal Ra's al Ghul is behind the attacks that are killing millions, he must travel the world to stop Ra's apocalypse from wiping humanity from planet Earth." Yes, they were going to use the yellow batsuit, but it's a fan project. I'll let it slide. This time. In fact, we have even been building toward the near apocalypse of '09 in our Legacies of the DCAU webcomic, which, shameless plug time, you can find at legacesdcau.com, link in the description, along with a handful of other major events. So I honestly can't blame anyone for wanting to see a depiction of what exactly happened that was so near apocalyptic. Ted and I have our own specific ideas, the Batman Immortal team had theirs, and Sparrow and Castellani have theirs. None are wrong or right or even more or less valid than one another. That is, unless we rally the troops and get DC to accept this damn pitch. But Let's take a closer look at the details of these released 5 pages and see what we can glean in terms of the DCAU timeline. Yes, we're going to try and pull timeline info from 5 pages of an unproduced comic. Are you surprised? We know Harley Quinn can't be a member of Task Force X until after the Harley and Ivy comic, which doesn't end until early 2005, about a year after the finale of JLU, Destroyer. But this is still 4 years out from 2009. In this pitch, Harley also refers to Joker as her ex-boyfriend, which continues to follow what's been laid out by that movie and its tie-in comics, despite Harley and Ivy depicting Harley being upset that someone would impersonate her puddin'. And if Batman is going to be interacting with her, this must be prior to the flashback sequence from Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, as old Barbara Gordon tells Terry,
"We never found her body, but I doubt she'd be starting trouble now."
Meaning the Bat family is unaware of Harley's whereabouts following that event. So, with all that being said, it's looking like this story is taking place somewhere between around the end of Justice League Unlimited and the Return of the Joker flashback, between about spring 2004 and sometime in 2007. And honestly, if this new story became a reality, it would give even more credence to our train of thought that the events of the Return of the Joker flashback sequence is a Task Force X mission for Harley to retrieve Joker's stolen Cadmus tech. For more on that, see our Retcon of the Joker video. If this is a story about the near apocalypse of 09 though, I'd say it's gotta be closer to the latter date, around 2007. At the time of the pitch, Sparrow wrote us, I'd only mapped out a year of stories, so I'd never gotten around to Robin appearing, but we were setting the opening of our story before the events depicted in the flashback in Return of the Joker. The events of that story would have been incorporated as we progressed to the near apocalypse of 2009. Even so, 2-ish years worth of story is a lot to try and tell with this pitch. But luckily for our own timeline-y sanity, if it turned out that the 09 stuff happened not too long after the death of the Joker, it wouldn't mess things up too badly. Our 2007 placement comes from old Tim Drake's line,
"Look, it's been almost 40 years.
And that's almost 40 years subtracted from the year 2042 when Return of the Joker takes place. So essentially it would just mean that Tim was exaggerating a little bit, and we can still make it work. In the Return of the Joker comic adaptation, he even says it's been over 30 years. So it actually all lines up pretty well. Since Harley was avoiding Amanda Waller's prodding to join Task Force X in the Batman and Harley Quinn sequel comic, and is now a member via this pitch, I also asked Sparrow if he was taking that movie into consideration, which was met plainly with a hard, "Not at all." He went on to say, I wouldn't have gone out of my way to disavow it, but I wouldn't have referenced it either. And lastly, in terms of the overall plot of the comic, Sparrow understandably didn't want to give much away. There's not a lot I want to say about the particulars because you never know when you'll get the chance to tell the story. I still have people asking about what I had planned during my second Darkwing Duck run before we were canceled, and as much as I'm dying to tell them, you still hope that you'll get the opportunity to tell that story properly one day. Suffice it to say, we had a lot of fun stories focusing on individual League members, all building to the climax of the 2009 reveal. And we'd have explored the Bruce and Diana chemistry further, which I think is something a lot of fans wanted to see. We did plan to use characters who never made it into the JLU series though, like Black Manta, Deathstroke, as well as newer characters like Jessica Cruz. If you're even 5% like me and obsess over the DCAU to some degree, I know you want to see the rest of this comic, even if it turns out to just be a fun romp in the style of Justice League Unlimited, but in actuality, well, not canon! But it seems Sparrow and Castellani have taken great care to tell a story they know fans want to read. Wonderbat? Check. Harley Quinn in the Task Force X? Check. Near Apocalypse of 09? Fucking check. So if you want this thing to be a reality, go retweet Sparrow's tweet of the preview images, linked in the description below. Tag DC and tell them you want this to exist. Raid Area 51 and... Wait, sorry, that's unrelated. How did that go, by the way? I haven't checked in. Did anything even happen? I saw the news clip of the kid doing the Naruto run, but like, that's about it. Let us know what you think about all this down in the comments. Do you want to see the Near Apocalypse of 09 explored, or would it be best to just leave it alone? What else do you want to see in this new comic if it gets the green light? If you want to help support the channel, you can do so via Patreon at the link in the description, where you can get early access to videos, custom DCAU style artwork, your name listed in our videos, like these lovely people right here, and access to a ton of behind the scenes stuff you won't find anywhere else. Like that blooper reel I posted a little bit ago, that was like 2 minutes long. It's 14 minutes on Patreon. Like, there's a lot long, it's way funnier. We've also got a merch store we don't mention often enough, linked below, where we've got tons of shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers. There's even some leggings in there, all with some dank WDB memes and logos. Keep Epilogue a secret, Egg Baby, and other stuff. Just go look, please, God. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on other upcoming content from the Watchtower Database. Like, seriously, it's taking way too long to get to 100,000. I want that plaque, damn it.